Animal rights types try to do that, but here's the problem. Every animal protest I've ever seen, it's always like the same thing. Like PETA always puts out these ads like of naked chicks. You know?
Yeah, well, that's not a protest, that's an ad. So I guess you're kind of confusing the two things. Yeah, and so they use marketing techniques. Wow, amazing. You mean organizations devoted to philosophy positions and political positions should not use marketing techniques? Obvious marketing techniques? They should get stupid people, ugly stupid people to represent their cause. They shouldn't try to perfect the image of their cause? Idiot.
You know, they had the thing with the naked chicks and the package of meat, like, oh, look how equivalent it is to kill animals and kill people. See how it's the same thing? All these naked chicks are just making me horny. That's all this is doing for me. The only logic I can see...
Yeah, and your psychology is the psychology of most people, or many people, or the people that they might be wanting to get to, which are maybe people capable of understanding that there might be something beautiful and sensitive and dignified and graceful about being more than just a big fat cockroach.
Behind using naked chicks to promote animal rights is just them saying, look at all these hot chicks involved in animal rights. You should become an animal rights guy so that you have a chance at scoring this fine ass. That's the only logic I can see, but that doesn't seem to be the logic they're trying to use. It seems to be like...
Yeah, like I said, marketing. You don't believe in marketing? Well, I mean, I don't like it. I mean, it'd be nice if we lived in a world where everybody was honest and they just honestly presented things. But realistically, you know that's the world we don't live in. So obviously in this world, you do have to play the game.
They're trying to use the logic that, look, the death of animals is the same as the death of people, and I don't believe that. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's the substance of the PETA movement or any other movement, okay? You know, people aren't sitting there. The majority, what percentage of animal rights advocates are making the argument that animals are the same as people? I think they're still calling them animals. They're not calling them human rights or something. They're going to come up with some other, you know, vernacular. I mean, there's some people that will argue, if you take it to its all the way to the roots, the core, that, yeah, okay, we desire, they desire, we think, they think, we, you know, so what? Ours is a little more sophisticated. Our soap opera has more intriguing nuance, but it's the same game. And so, yeah, that argument can be made.
The main reason I'm a vegetarian is because I don't want to be responsible for the suffering and slaughtering of innocent animals. Every
life form on this planet has to eat other life forms to survive, right? I mean, plants have photosynthesis and all that, but I mean, animals eat animals, and if they're not eating animals, they're eating plants. And
yeah, so and who says it has to be that way? I mean, you're smart enough to know that it's just about nutrition, right? It's about chemistry, about getting the right chemistry to run your body, and that obviously you can do that in a lot of different ways, and that nature is a dumb force, right? I mean, you don't believe in a God, so you haven't sanctified nature, have you? You don't think nature is something more than crude forces, do you? So we shouldn't really, we're not obligated as intelligent beings who think we're better than animals for some reason. We're better than them because we have some sophisticated intelligence, and yet we're not intelligent enough to realize that we don't have to be obedient to fucktarded traditions of nature.
Plants are as alive as animals. I mean, the broccoli that you're eating is just as alive as any animal on the...
Yeah, so you just completely ignore the word suffering, right? That when he said the word suffering, that didn't go into your brain at all. It just bounced off of some part of you, right? You just didn't acknowledge the existence of that word. And I think you would I don't think you could deny that most people involved in animal rights are focused on the suffering of animals, okay? It's not about their life, it's about their suffering.
This planet. So really what you're doing is just saying some life is okay to eat and some life is not okay to eat. So you're basically just drawing a line in the sand and saying everything on this side of the line, delicious, edible, fine with me. I believe it's morally okay to eat all of these living things, and I believe it's morally reprehensible to eat all these living things every time.
Yeah, well, look, fucktard, don't we all draw that line? I mean, some of us draw the line at white humans only, right? Some have the white-only line they draw, okay, when it comes to civil rights. Some people do that. And then some people say, no, it's only the humans. And then some people just sit there and say, no, it's the thing that matters is the capacity to feel. That's the real value in what makes a life form have character worth paying attention to. And you know, for you to not be able to figure that out, it really isn't about whether or not it has DNA. Okay, DNA doesn't define a living thing. All right, I mean the we should give a damn standard. All right, so the give a damn line has something else to do. It's about more than whether it possesses a DNA molecule or the proper number of chromosomes. It's about whether it's conscious and can be harmed.
And you eat meat, if you have a chicken curry or a beef burger or a lamb chop or a turkey sandwich, every time you're eating any dish with meat in it, you are directly responsible for the slaughtering of an animal.
See, there's another problem. You're not directly responsible. You're indirectly responsible. Directly responsible would be if you killed the animal yourself. I mean, I'm not saying that you're any less...
Well, whatever. I mean, that is semantics, and I don't even think you're accurate. I mean, if every time you use the word direct, it has to be some sort of right-on thing. I mean, you could say that, what, you don't directly start the car when you turn the ignition key? Because the ignition key turns on another little solenoid, another little box that really turns the car on, so you're only indirectly starting your car. I mean, come on. It leads, the connection is clean enough and obvious enough. Without your demand for the substance will not be created. Therefore, you are directly responsible for the creation of the substance because you demand it and will pay for it.
Responsible, but I mean the use of the word is wrong. I mean, indirectly, directly, still responsible either way, but you know, it's just a semantics thing. It's just wrong to say directly, because directly would have to mean that you actually picked up a hammer and bashed a cow's brains in or something, which sounds fun and interesting, but I've never done it personally. This is the United...
Yeah, and whatever. So again, so you're just playing with the subject. You don't want to treat any of it seriously. You just sit there and play games. You're going to play a stupid word game with this kind of a subject, but you don't give a shit about anything. How do you encourage conversation and discourse and discussion and all that crap if this is the petty crap that you call an argument?
United States of America, you're obviously not a citizen of the United States, but here in America, we kill our own meat a lot of the times, especially here in the South. I mean, you know.
A lot of the times? What is it? What, that's, yeah, so we're going to get to it. We're going to get semantic about how direct how correct it was for him to use direct, but we're not going to worry about you saying a lot of the time, implying that somehow it's more than 0.01%. What's the percentage of the meat consumed is consumed by people who actually killed their own, whatever it is, buffalo? Okay, what's the percentage, DJ? 1%? 0.0? 0.005%? Come on, fuck you. Bogus argument.
My little brother Stevie just shot his first deer not too long ago, and they cooked that motherfucker up in a bunch of little sausages and shit. I've got some of them sausages in my freezer right now, and I saw that thing get slaughtered and all that. I mean, it's not equivalent to a human being. It's not. I didn't feel the same stirring of emotion.
Yeah, so it depends on what you feel. We should all ask TJ, right? Everybody has to ask TJ what it means, because if TJ doesn't feel anything, it doesn't mean anything. Is that what it comes down to? It's an intellectual argument. I mean, some people are going to argue from emotion, but the bottom line is it's an intellectual argument that this sentience thing is important, that it feels. It can be harmed. It can be hurt. And you don't cause something harm and hurt without some kind of good cause. And that's the whole point of this subject, is that the good cause is merely your fucking addiction. You have an addiction to meat, okay, that you acquired through your conditioning. And that there are millions of people living, billions perhaps, living perfectly satisfactory lives without that addiction, without ever acquiring, without having any dependency to eat the flesh of another animal to survive comfortably and happily. And they can do that even more efficiently because they won't be wasting 70% of the value of the energy they're putting into the food production to produce the food. Okay, so on every level, you wouldn't, your health wouldn't be as in a big a jeopardy as it is in. You know, your life would probably be improved if you never acquired that addiction.
that I did if it was a human being being, you know, cut open under my porch. It just didn't feel the same to me. And maybe it would feel the same to you, and I'm not in trying to validate my opinion or invalidate yours by saying that I didn't feel...
Well, it sounds like you're trying to invalidate. It sounds like you're trying to trivialize and marginalize the subject.
Feel that way. But you have to understand that it's just a matter of feeling. It's just a matter of you saying, oh, those animals, I view them as the same as people, and me saying, no, I really don't. So it really boils down to a matter of opinion. And I really just hate the way you people...
Yeah, you hate the way we discuss and argue. So some other point of view, that's what you really hate, right? So you're all for this freedom of discussion and the freedom of expression as long as the expression agrees with you. But if our expression says you're a fucking idiot, a cruel, sadistic fucktard, a menace to society, a menace to the future, because you're defending and supporting something you should just admit is your personal addiction because of the fucktarded environment you grew up in, and that you really don't need to be an asshole.